How do you explain the 68%, Fran?
The only way that you can explain it is to empower your guys to have the confidence to shoot it without hesitation. And it's one of the things that I pride myself in. I mean, you know, Isaiah, remember the beginning of the second half, he had a 3 open, he drove it, he missed a pull-up, kind of ran at him. I said, just shoot the first one. Just keep firing. Same thing with Joe. If I ever tell them anything as it relates to their shooting, it's shoot it again. Why didn't you shoot that one? It's never, don't shoot that one, and get them overthinking about it.
Coach, what'd you think of Illinois today?
Illinois is a very difficult team to play against. They compete. They're athletic. They're quick. They fight you. You know, they kind of keep coming. They've got some really good young players, which I think is pretty obvious. An impressive group of young guys that Brad brought in there. And I think you see it come together like it did in the last game. Okay, it didn't come together today. We shot it extremely well. We were ready to defend their stuff. They run really good stuff. But it's a team you're going to have to deal with for a long time with those young guys.
Can they make a turn like you guys have done this year?
No question. It takes time to come together as a group, to come together and play for a coach that you're just playing for a few games. They probably didn't need that schedule early. If I were to, but you know, you play the schedule you're handed. That's what you do.
Fran, what do you think of your defense, especially in the first half?
It was spectacular. I mean, we were really locked in. We were grinding hard, fighting over, and really put a lot of attention to stopping them in transition. They're at their best in transition. You get Io out in the open floor, he's a handful. We got back, we walled off. A lot of times that's a result of shot selection on our end and not turning the ball over. If you take bad shots, you have live ball turnovers against Illinois, you're going to have problems at the other end, and we did a pretty good job of that.
Moss was out for, I don't know, 9-10 minutes in the first half, but when he came back in, he was good to go. Is that harder to do than people realize?
It's hard to do. It's not hard to do for him. You know, he's got a pretty confident mindset as it relates to his offensive skills. You know, and I think as impressive as he was shooting the ball today, I thought he was more impressive what he did off the dribble and his decision-making when he went and when he didn't go and how he moved without it. We dribbled it a lot more in the first half maybe than we should have, but they make you do that. I thought Connor did a great job of that, keeping his dribble. You can't pick it up because they're denying the next pass, and then you just got to find people. Like he found Isaiah at the last shot at the end of the half. But when I put him back in, he hits the curl cut jump shot and then the 3 at the buzzer, and then you know, kind of took over the second half along with Joe.
Fran, 29 assists on 34 field goals. What you like about the passing? Maybe the best of the year.
Yeah, I don't know that I remember too many times when I looked down at a stat sheet at the end of the game and saw 29. That's a big number. So it means 2 things. Obviously, we were unselfish in sharing the ball, but we're also, you know, making shots. We got a mixture of layups and open threes. The threes we made were open off of transition or ball movement.
Joe still hasn't missed a shot today. Talk about him. He's perfect on the day and just continues to get better and better.
Well, you know, the thing about him is he's never going to take a bad shot, and he's a really good shooter. So he's got a good percentage to make it every time he shoots it. And he doesn't hunt shots. You know, he doesn't overthink it. Incredibly mature approach to this level.
What do you like most about during this 5-game winning streak by your team?
Just that we're together. You know, if somebody's out, like Tyler was out, somebody else steps up. You go one game to another, somebody plays great, somebody doesn't have such a great game, but somebody else steps up. And we didn't have a lot of that last year. We just, you know, we obviously have more depth this year, but you don't know great game to game who's going to be the man. Obviously today it was Joe and Isaiah. You know, I thought Connor was terrific. But then J-Bo at the start of the second half catching fire, I thought he was terrific. You know, so Tyler's got to get his legs back underneath him. I thought he did some really good things. He'll get it figured out. Same thing with Luka. The first half, he was pretty decent. The second half, he was tremendous. That's the kind of team we have.
Man-to-man defense has kind of been up and down this year, but it looked real solid.
Today was great. And they're hard to guard, because they're quick off the dribble. They run, you know, a spread offense where there's a lot of cuts, and they invert, so there's different people in different spots. And then they mix in some weave action and some set plays. So you gotta be locked in together. Are we switching, are we not switching, are we showing, are we going under? And then you gotta rebound, because they're flying at the glass.
Coach, how important is it to be old in this league? I mean, Illinois is young, but a lot of the teams like yourselves, they're older.
Well, I think it helps. You know, there are some teams that are younger that are still pretty good, depends on what young guys you have. But I think the grind of 20 games in this league and the road atmosphere that you walk into and the sort of pressure from media, social media is a lot to handle for a young guy. And I think once they go through it, all right, we got to figure it out now, and then it becomes second nature for the next 3 years.
Is Tyler back 100%?
He's not 100%, but he's close. I mean, I thought he looked like he had some explosion, one dunk in the first half. I thought, he pushed it a couple times. He got some big time rebounds. I think you'll see him play better and feel better.
Take a couple more.
What are the points of emphasis for Thursday against Michigan State in correcting what didn't go
Well,
well?
it's always the same. It's not about correcting. It's you got to be able to stop them in transition, and you got to be able to execute your offense against what is arguably the best defense that any team will face. And then of course you got to rebound, because that's a component of the defensive side of it. But offensively, you got to take care of the ball against a team that's going to be up in your space and trying to take you out of stuff that you do, and then you got to sustain that effort for 40 minutes. And it's not easy to do, but we'll get them ready.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.